Let's talk business. One of the things I absolutely loved the most about Halo Reach was the armor customization. It was a little more than what we got with Halo 3, and it wasn't nearly as over the top as it was with the other Halo games that came after Reach. While I normally make machinima videos, I figured I'd make a fun video talking about my armor. It seems to be widely recognized by the Halo machinima community, which I think is kind of funny and kind of cool. People recognized me when my Spartan was in the running dead, and one guy even found a YouTuber that had taken one of my videos and uploaded it as his own, but because my armor is so iconic, the people watching the video realized that it was stolen and told me about it. Crazy, right? But to get right to it, I'm gonna make a video to let you all know a little bit about me, and why I picked the armor and the color that I did for my Spartan. My helmet of choice is the RECON helmet, and it's a funny story how I ended up picking the helmet. I used to watch RB and the Chief almost every single day, many years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, why does John pick such a stupid looking helmet for Chief? Is it because Chief is supposed to be some sort of an idiot? I honestly did not like the RECON helmet and thought it looked dumb. Not sure how, why, or when it was that hit me though, but I got it for Reach and was like, I'll wear it, why not? I like RB and the Chief. And sometime after, the helmet ended up growing on me to the point that it became my favorite Halo helmet. One of the reasons why I just choose to like things nowadays. But RB and the Chief is what made me a fan of the RECON helmet. The reason why I picked the Commando shoulder piece was because it almost looked like a shield. And I liked the idea of someone shooting at me and I could raise my arm up and sort of protect my head in case I was being fired at. Not as effective, but that's why I picked it. And also not as exciting as the helmet, but that was my reason for picking it. I've always been a fan of the riot shields, and using them in games like Call of Duty. So, for me, it felt almost like a miniature shield that I could use for protection. As for the right shoulder, this one was tricky for me, as silly as that may sound, because I felt like I really couldn't find a shoulder that fit me best. I originally wore the Hazop shoulder piece, but after a while it just didn't seem to fit. I wanted something that was relatively small, but I wanted it to be a red color, and that's why I ended up picking the Mark V shoulder piece. I didn't want to use it at first because I didn't want to look like I was copying Carter's shoulders, but after a while I really didn't care and just decided to go with it. Many years ago, not sure why, I just kind of got into scarves. I used to wear them all the time, both summer and winter scarves. I even wore some Harry Potter scarves, but I used to work at this grocery store many years ago, where I worked in the parking lot, and to protect my neck from sunburn, I always wore this red summer scarf. It just kind of became the thing that everyone knew me for while I worked there. But I like the tactical chest piece because of the ghillie scarf my Spartan uses. My wrist doesn't have anything really special to it, but it was more so the piece that seemed to blend with my armor preference more. And I'm on my phone all the time doing research, so I figured it'd be like the item my Spartan uses to research during reconnaissance missions. I also didn't like just not having an attachment. It just looked much more cool having one. As for my utility, the med kit just seemed to fit me the best. Many years ago, I had dropped out of school when I was originally studying to become an engineer. It just didn't interest me as much. And while I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, I kept helping my friends recover and heal from some undisclosed health problems. But ever since then, I decided to go back to school and started studying biology to learn more about the human body and disease. And I always carry all kinds of remedies that have had very promising results on myself and my sick friends. So, not technically the same thing as a med kit, but it still had some similarities. I originally couldn't figure out what to do with my visor because blue and default didn't fit well with me, and gold and black seemed too popular for my taste. You know, because I don't like to be too mainstream. Ha! But no, honestly, silver just seemed to blend with my overall look the best. I also have a thing for silver in real life, both for currency and for combating disease. I think I've said too much. As for the knees, they're kind of similar to all of the unexciting choices. Nothing extremely special, but the ones I picked look good with my Spartan because of the color blend. I wanted somewhat equal parts red and white for my armor, and those knee guards worked the best to bring that out, so I just kept it simple. Would have been nicer for Bungie to maybe add an extra knee guard or two, but I'm happy with what I got. When it comes to armor effect and voice, I honestly didn't really care to use them. I didn't want an armor effect because I wanted my Spartan to look more real and a little less fantasy-like, and I kind of consider my voice to be the best voice for my Spartan. My emblem should be a no-brainer, if you talk to me a lot. I've always been a fan of swords and shields. I remember when I bought my very first sword in Tennessee back in I think I must have been 10 or 12 years old and bought one of those cheap $20 swords that I carried with me everywhere. But I'm also a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings and other fantasies, so a sword and shield emblem was perfect for me. My colors are based on sort of my views and my name. Weird, I know. The color white is supposed to be a color that represents things like purity and righteousness, and it's also the color of two of my favorite characters, Kopaka and Gandalf. So it seemed like the best color of choice for me. As for red, or brick as it's listed in the game, well, red is my name, and I like the color. To me, it represents things like passion and fire. I also like the color combo of white and red because it makes me look like some kind of a medic or healer. I also like red and white roses. Same thing with my emblem. I have the colors white, red, and brown. You may not hear it as much as white and red, but I also like the color brown because it's my last name. My first name has red and my last name has brown in it. Funny, I know. I am of many colors. I saved the most controversial one for last. Now, there's the male and female Spartan, which I guess is now called the light and heavy armor, to make my life somewhat easier with the complainers. But I play as the female, or light armor Spartan, and it tends to freak a lot of people out. And many years ago, when I first started making videos, I had people private messaging me and demanding that I stop making machinima videos with the female Spartan. Some of them were really angry. Not all, but some. I never thought to save the text until now. It would have been funny to look back on. Either way, I was less offended and more amused by it, because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I mainly just did it because I always looked at it like you never actually get to see what Noble 6, or your Spartan, actually looks like. So I wasn't really seeing my Spartan as a female, but just a skinny male. Even on the original Reach copy, there were times when my character would talk in the cutscenes, and I'd jump because my brain was waiting for a male voice, but it ended up being a female voice. I also like how there's more curve than bulk, kind of like how Iron Man goes from the bulky Mark 1 to the more slim and slender Mark 2 armor. Even the light armor has some similarities to the Mark 2 armor that I like, such as the shins have a curve in them and whatnot. It was just funny to me how it legit made some people really angry, and oftentimes people would say how I needed to change it, but it's grown on me, and I likely won't change it, especially at this point. I mean, you can take that with offense, or you could just go about your business. But I've always had a really skinny waist all of my life. To many people, it was always abnormal. Not like it was alien in appearance, but it definitely appeared less bulky masculine. I have what you might call an hourglass figure, where my chest measures around 34 inches, my lower body or my hips measure around 37 inches, and my waist measures around 25 inches. So I was doing it less as a statement and more because it just seemed to match me a little more in real life. I ended up just keeping it because my waist is still where it's at, and I felt like my Spartan kind of has a particular look now and just kept it as it was. Now, my armor is done, but as a small bonus, I'll mention 3 items I use in the game as sort of my character's choice of weapons and equipment. If you ever watch my previous videos, you'll notice that my character always carries around an assault rifle, a shotgun, and a drop shield. The reason why is because the shotgun is supposed to represent the first gun my dad ever got me when I was 16 years old. It was a Remington 870 shotgun. As for the assault rifle, I was originally going to pick a DMR to represent my AR-15, but then I was like, well, people associate me with handguns more than my rifle. So I chose to instead use the assault rifle because it was basically the weapon that represents Master Chief and Halo. Maybe I'll change to a DMR one day, but my choice in weapons is nothing too special. Though, with the drop shield, I like it because it goes back to everything I've said about being a medic or a healer. It seems to be what I'm really good at doing, so it seemed to fit me best. Not to mention, I like the bubble because I can use it to protect other people, and that seems to be what I want the most in life, to help heal and protect people. I hope you enjoyed learning about my choices and why I picked all of the things that I did. I get lots of people private messaging me asking for permission to use my look, and I honestly don't care. Have fun. I don't own the look, I just made it popular among my fans. Though, I will say, if you're playing Reach with me, don't wear my armor choice. Only because I like seeing everyone else's creative choices with their armor. I mean, if your armor is similar to mine, I don't care. But don't do an exact copy while we're playing together. One thing I like about Reach is the diverse looks you can get for all of your characters. Even the elites have some cool armor options. It's also weird when I get into a game and it's basically me playing with myself. It also sounds weird when I say it out loud. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short video about my armor. Let me know what you think of it, and hopefully when things calm down, I can start making some actual videos again. And also leave me a comment with your armor and why you picked what you did. Go into details. I love hearing people's creative choices and what inspired them. I also might make a list of some of the Spartans listed in the comment section and hide them in my future videos. I had a list a long time ago, but it got lost on my computer, so I'll have to make a new one soon. That's all for now. See ya!